Hello, this is Dale Matthews, and this is Mike Jones.
That is not me. At
It's
least,
not.
that was that. Yeah, that's me pre-op.
Yes, pre-op.
Yes.
What we
I
got for this?
decided I didn't want to be a teenage girl. I wanted to be an old guy with gray hair.
What we got criticized by Vivian Kirkpatrick Pelter last time I put up this picture. It's up there for a reason,
Oh,
Vivian.
was it the same picture?
Yeah, it's the same picture. Okay, I can do it twice. It's okay. My mother said it was
Yes.
okay. So, why would two guys put up? Why would they put? Are you kidding me? We're two American guys. Of course, we're gonna put. But here's
Hey,
the
I'm
story.
married. I don't know what this guy's talking about.
Yes. But here's the story. Wait till you hear this. This is amazing. Now, of course, the city of Grants Pass thinks that Live Rogue, okay, I know what they're saying, is the most brilliant kind of thing in the world. But I started calling it Go Rogue because I just
Mm.
think that's a little bit funny. And Go Rogue, as many of you know, is also means it's sort of the peaceful version of Go Commando, which means don't wear underwear. Okay, so I put up Go Rogue, and so Vivian had, you really need to put up pictures of little pretty girls. Well, yes, we do. So I got this in the mail today. I'm telling you. Okay, so just before I show that, so we got some footage tonight featuring Vivian Kirkpatrick Pilger in all of her glory at the city council meeting from last night. We're going to tell you about that in a minute. So I went down to talk with the folks at the city about getting this footage. And as I was passing by the bus station that's right out in front of the Ann Basker, there were some college students, I guess, waiting to go to RCC. And one of them said, "Hey, you're Dale Matthews, aren't they?" The other said, "Yeah, hey, we love your show. And Mike, yeah, we love Dale and Mike." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you very much." I should have stopped and talked to him, but I was on my way somewhere. "Yeah, well, you're just really great and all this stuff." Well, it kind of goes with the little theory that I've had. I had one source for this before, that this idea that we put up here, and we got something like over 200 views of just the one show, with making fun of Live Rogue by saying Go Rogue, don't wear underwear. And so did that really happen? Well, that explains why this guy is up here, because it says above him hashtag Go Rogue, and he's representing RCC. I got this in the mail today. It says right up here, hashtag, if you don't know what that means, ask a 12-year-old, hashtag Go Rogue. Go Rogue. There's nobody else that's saying Go Rogue. Go Rogue, not Live Rogue. And there's a picture of a girl in the back here who may or may not be wearing underwear, and it says Go Rogue on it. And this
Yeah.
guy, why is he standing? Is he leaning against something? No, he's standing here like this because it's uncomfortable in a shirt with no undershirt under it. See, look at the guy. Besides being kind of geeky, and I prefer her better, he's kind of like, "Ooh, be yourself at RCC. Go
Okay.
Rogue."
I
That's my
guess.
theory.
Okay. I don't. I can't see your pictures very well, so I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. His wife. Okay. I'm so glad you couldn't see those
No,
pictures very well, Mike. He
no.
really
I
can't.
can see the picture of the half-naked girl
Oh,
that
there you
you get
go.
your porn on the internet and
Yes,
stuff.
yes. That's
Jeez.
what we're promoting these days. That's right. It's only
Yeah,
because I've been
yes.
spending so much time at the dang library. You know what the
Yes.
library.
Right.
So I'll get these off here. Don't worry, Vivian. We'll put you up instead. So
Okay.
what I did, I want to thank Donna Anderson. This is not Donna Anderson, but she's very sweet. Donna is. And Donna works for the city. There are some very nice, very sweet people who work for the city and the county, and we do try to go out of our way whenever we can dig one, whenever we can find one, to praise them for what they did, because there are some really nice people, and some of them really love the show, and I get high fives from guys in the hallway and stuff, with the crew there. I'm not going to say who, Simon. And Cheryl. Oh, man, no way am
Yeah,
I going to say
Cheryl.
who.
Cheryl's been high-fiving you in the hallway.
No. I'm not going to tell them
Yes.
who is my
Sure.
point. Who do you
Oh,
mean?
gotcha.
Who would say that? Oh, you never tell them. Who's been complaining? No, not out of me. I'll go to jail first. So I want to thank Donna Anderson. Thank you very much, Donna Anderson. She was
Yeah.
very nice,
You
very
just
sweet.
destroyed her career.
I talked to her about that. I said, I may mention you tonight on the show. Oh, okay. And I said, well, let me give you a warning. When we mention good things about Scott over at the transit, he had people that complained to him. They actually they did. I said, yeah, they weren't happy that we were saying good things about him. Oh, I said, no, they weren't happy. They weren't. So,
Well,
go figure.
that's
So,
goofy.
so
Listen, she has nothing to do with our content, just for the record. Okay.
oh, not with that, not with the
Except for the
commentary.
fact that she gave it to us.
The video. That's just the video.
Yes.
Okay, so you will now see, unless you have cable TV and Grants Pass, you will now see for the very first time ever on planet Earth and Pluto, you will see footage from last night's rather contentious city council meeting, because we have the footage. That's where we got it, you see. And we're going to play back a long excerpt from it, and we might comment in between. It's one of the things that we do. But just before we do, let me tell you about what the
Boy, this is a
sorry.
long lead in.
It's a long lead in. What the Courier had to say. Sachs sales tax proposal.
See what happens, Vivian? You're right about this.
Yeah,
this is what happens to men's brains. There's naked women on screens in the room. Sex, tax.
I
you know
said
how it
Sachs. It's got nothing to do with
that's
that.
right. That's it. Let's get that off of there so as to get your brain back in the right place, Dale Matthews.
All right. So there was a place.
If I knew your middle name, I'd say it.
There was a place here in town that for a while you could get see if you like this better, Mike.
Yeah.
You could get it's trying to get blood out of a stone.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, that's what that is, trying to get blood out of a stone.
I thought somebody was trying to punch me in the face.
This maybe
we're gonna get an angry letter saying, "Hey, take that down before somebody gets the wrong idea."
Oh, that's right. That's right. There used to be a place in town where you could go to get balderized versions of where they would take it and cut it up.
Is that where they take your hair off for fashion purposes?
It where they
hashtag get balderized.
Yes, they would take videos and they would make shorter versions of them by cutting out anything that you found objectionable. Really, it kind of violated copyright rules, and they had to stop. But it was supposed to be a Christian place that would, and they featured one of them. They said they could do that. Was it that feature with Mel Gibson? He wasn't being racist. What was he being? Well, it was against the English. It was the one where the Scots were fighting against the English. Yeah, and right. there's the famous scene where they showed their bare bottoms to the English guys. Well, they're going to cut that out. They leave in all the dissection, and they cut this guy up, and they tore him apart.
Violence!
All that stuff was just fine, but
you
throw in a little bit of skin, it was like, we need to get rid of that. Okay, yes. I'm telling you, this thing with Go Rogue. When I was in high school, well, before then, you may remember, and this fits with what Mike was just urging me on to talk about, balderized. There was a song before I went to school called, it started like, "Good golly, Miss Molly, you sure like to something," right? And there were a couple of radio stations who had them change that to, "You sure like to bowl like bowling."
Yes.
Little Richard wasn't very happy with that. Okay, you sure like to bowl. Yeah, right. Well, when I was in high school, we had a big thing up there for the seniors that said, come to the senior class picnic. And, well, it was similar to that. But some of the teachers said, oh, look, they're going to have a dance. That's not really what it meant. And some of the hipper teachers, they were like, oh, yeah, I get it. Well, of course they did. Come to the senior class picnic and bowl. Okay, of course that's what it meant. And so now that the city council has done this lunkheaded thing with this, there's a lot of, I don't know, high school students, but definitely college students, they understand what Go Rogue means. They know what it means. And we do too. And we were the ones that told you, although you can't see it anymore, what that actually means to a lot of, it's like Go Commando. Anyway, so So
Yes, thank you. Let me see here. How long did we spend on that explanation? I think that
oh,
was
it's
what,
fun.
five,
It's fun.
6 minutes. Yeah.
After all of the negative stories we've had recently, I think that we can live with just a little bit of humor and most of it true.
I don't
Not
like
all.
it.
Yes, right. Get to the stories. You always should get to the stories. Look, here's sales tax proposal. It's not something, according to Jim Moore, and
Yes.
and it was the mayor, Darren Fowler, at last night's meeting, who said to the assembled audience that we're not trying to convince you tonight to be a sales tax advocate. We're trying to educate you.
Oh yes. Well,
I
that's
remember
that's that's so nice.
Connie
So
Roach
nice.
and who's up for election, by the way, and the county commissioners sent out a notice in every tax bill when they were trying to push the levy, talking about how wonderful the levy was. Well, it'll do this and this and this and this and this and this, but we're only sending you this to educate you. It didn't
Yes.
work, and you paid for it.
Yes.
So they were only trying to
It
educate.
didn't work. The people are still stupid.
Well, according to them, they are. According
Yeah.
to Art Harvey, who's also up for election, those who question government, I'm not making this up, we're morons.
Yeah.
Thank you, Art Harvey. You're up for election when? Okay, so one of the things that I thought was real interesting about this, gee, I hope it's interesting to you. Hope you haven't turned off already. Scott Draper, I thought he was gone. But here he is. He's on the front page of the Courier, and he's against this sales tax.
He's against it?
You know why he's against the sales tax,
Yeah,
Mike? Can you guess?
because he has a business.
That's one of the reasons, but the other reason is it's not a levy.
Yeah.
It's a sales tax. It's
yeah,
not a levy.
this has to do with his,
He wants a permanent levy,
he's
and
got
he
a
doesn't want it to
business.
affect his business. And so
Right.
now suddenly
and he's
Scott
fine
Draper.
with throwing a burden on everybody else. And well, listen. If there's one thing that business people understand, this isn't just a little bit of a problem in collecting a tax and passing it on. You're going to have to file returns. Your accounting. This is going to cost you more money.
Yeah.
Your accountant is going to hate you for this.
Every customer that's going to come in is going to be surprised all over again. What do you mean,
Right.
tax?
Wait a minute. I thought you said this was $5.99.
Yes,
No.
exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
everywhere else it is, but not here. Not here. Forget it. Okay. People are not going to drive to Medford. I know I'm going to drive to Medford. No, you're not. Not really. Okay. You're not really. You may do it
Probably.
once. But I'm going to go to Cave Junction instead. No, but I'll tell you who could profit from this. Merlin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, their proximity is close. Just move all your car dealerships and your, listen, there is going to be a car dealership popping up in Merlin because you can't tell me people won't drive from Grants Pass to Merlin to save $60 or whatever it is on the first $1,000.
Well, it won't affect cars. We'll be fair. It's not supposed to affect cars.
I heard it was going to affect the first $1,000 of almost anything.
Oh, well, I don't know. That may be true, like my grocery bill. But okay, so
no, not groceries.
Yes, if it's prepackaged.
Yeah.
So
yes.
you go down and get your Cocoa Puffs. Going to pay tax on that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh. Yeah. This whole thing's a stinker. But we could spend the whole evening talking about this.
But can't you see somebody at Kellogg's going,
stuff is waiting in the wings?
Somebody at Kellogg's or wherever is going to say, what the heck has happened to our sales of Cocoa Puffs?
I've never been this anxious to see a meeting.
Okay, so this actually starts off with Vivian Kirkpatrick Pilger. Hopefully that makes it up to you, Vivian. Go ahead and play this extended excerpt. We may come in and talk a little bit from the Grants Pass City Council meeting, which you couldn't have seen unless you have cable TV and happen to be watching last night. Go ahead, Mike.
My name is Vivian Kirkpatrick Pilger, and I am a resident of the county, but I own property in the city, and I also have a relative who has a business in the city, a very close relative. And I don't represent that business, but I'm also the president of the Josephine County Republican Women. and we have a long history of opposing taxes. At any rate, this sounds like a well thought out plan to get all the people in the city who already vote for taxes to vote for this tax to spread the damages of what 80% of the crime is in the city, to spread it out to the people who live rurally who have to come here and shop, which I don't think is a very nice thing to do. And I don't appreciate it. I personally will drive to Medford to get my supplies and to buy whatever I need to buy. And I won't mind doing that because of my principles. So that's how I feel about it. The other question I have is, if someone goes into, say, the local Safeway and they buy something at the deli and then they buy unprepared food, is the deli food going to be taxed versus the non-deli food?
Excellent questions, thank you. With regards to the service level of people that are outside the county, one of the things is, I think Jay mentioned the influx and the amount of population we have coming in. If someone lives and they're a rural resident of the county and they come and they shop here and their car happens to get broken into, who are they going to call and who's going to respond? The city police are going to respond. The city police are going to take the case, and the detectives are going to work on that. So rural residents utilize city services on a daily basis. Jay, would you please take a respond to the deli question and then also the unprepared food question in the grocery store?
Yeah, so I'll just use this mic. A lot of the deli items would be considered prepared food, so there probably would be the 1.75 tax added to that. What we found through data in Washington State has a long history of looking at this data, and we had a tax consultant help us with the actual rate calculation, so that we're relatively confident that that rate will bring in the revenues that the criminal justice system needs. But they looked at approximately grocery store sales, so at the Hagen or Safeway, those types of grocery stores, about 75% of the items in there will not be taxed, and about 25% of the items in there would be taxed. So things like paper products or things that are prepared food in a deli would typically have a tax on them. And so this is commonly how other states operate their program as well. So we're not necessarily recreating the wheel here.
Oh, well, that's good.
Thank you. My name is Bill Barkley, and my wife and I are fairly recent residents of the county, of Josephine County, live out on Stringer Gap. We went through the process of observing this last proposed levy and got into a little bit of the history, and so I just want to say tonight I applaud the task force efforts here. I think it's regrettable that it took 5 failed levies, on property tax to start thinking out of the box, but I think you guys have done that. And I think this is very, very creative, and I think it's very, very equitable. So I think from my standpoint, I voted against the property tax levy. I would absolutely vote for this, and I think most of my friends and colleagues that live out in the county would do likewise.
Who's letting these people move in here?
I just have one other question, and it has to do with the deliverables, okay? And you may have heard that term come up before, but I noticed that 1.75% would translate into about 8 million, okay? So I guess my question is, where's the breakdown on how the 8 million would be spent, and why not 10 million, or why not 6 million? In other words, you go down to a dealership, you can buy a car, it has these options, or you can get one that's a little more expensive, it has more, so what do we get? And I think it'd be really important as part of this exercise to articulate, for the community, what does this buy you, okay, in some measure of detail, because I think that was lacking, frankly, in this last property tax levy. There's too many generalities.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I think there are some additional details on there that sort of break down the additional services that will hit. But Jay, do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, sure. So that is actually mentioned on the one-page handout in the back, and it will also be something that will be published in the voters pamphlet when this is actually voted on. But in a nutshell, about $5 million of that replaces the city's current public safety levy. And so that allows the continuation of the current level of police and fire services in Grants Pass. 1.4 million would allow us to reopen and fully operate the juvenile justice shelter and detention facility. 1.4 million would allow for continued jail services in the adult jail. And then approximately 250,000 has been set aside to supplement criminal prosecution services. So all those put together comes up to the $8 million. So again, $5 million for city public safety, and 1.4 for juvenile justice, 1.4 for the adult jail services, and 250,000 for criminal prosecution services.
We have all those documents for you, everybody.
Increasing, his staffing at all, at the county level?
It would certainly increase, it would allow for a slight increase in staffing at the jail to provide for jail services. And it would, one of the bigger boosts would be in the juvenile justice. So that program, we would be allowed to reopen and fully operate the juvenile justice.
Right, so the county residents don't get any more patrols because of coming into Grants Pass and spending their money.
Allow for at least one more attorney for criminal prosecution services. And the impact to the county with the county criminal justice programs would be significant. Does it directly allow the county to put more folks out on the road? Not necessarily. That's not necessarily in the city's purview to fund activities that the city doesn't necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Right.
So I'm left-handed, so I'm going to start.
But it's in their purview to tax us to fund it.
So I'm going to start here on far left, and we'll go through so I make sure I don't miss anybody.
See, they're going to start with the far left.
Yes, it figures.
I was really surprised. I called Evergreen Bank Day to ask one of the staff members to see if they could research this out for me. I was curious about what percentage of people rent versus own homes in Grants Pass, i.e., what percentage of people pay property tax and what percentage of people don't because they rent, 50%. So personally, of course, as a business, you get sensitive about sales taxes and you're never thrilled about them. But I also really, for our business, we want people to move to Josephine County, to the city, into the county. They buy furniture. It's good for us. And with not enough law enforcement, I'm worried about how many people may not move here. But back to the point, I would honestly leave the safety levy in place because you're really penalizing lower income people. I assume the people renting are lower income people. It's an assumption, but I just assume that if they don't own property, they may not be wealthy enough to have the property. They have no savings. Okay, they don't pay that tax levy, so there's no savings for them. So I would recommend that we leave the $1.74 in place, reduce the sales tax to 1%, keep your cap on it. I think the county residents would probably appreciate that more than 1.75. But I just worry about hitting the lower income people with a double whammy. So they pay the 1.75 and there's no savings for them.
Thank you. All right, next.
Good evening, everybody. Mark Seligman. I live in Selma, Oregon for 20 years. There was an article yesterday in the Courier, USA Today article. It said 24% of the people in Grants Pass are on food stamps. It's the third worst city in the United States as far as income gap. This proposal will have no benefit at all to renters. It'll hurt them. It'll further marginalize them. I'm curious what percentage is renters and what percentage is property owners. That USA article is very revealing as to the income in this county. I urge everybody in this room who lives here to run for city council because of what this council is trying to do. They're of one mind. The city council 2 years ago did a very good thing. It put $1 million of their money out for jail beds. You know what this city is worth? $90 million. That's 1/90th of what they're worth. Why they can't continue to do that, I don't know. City residents are held hostage. They can't go to Medford unless you're like Vivian, and we'll do it out of principle, which I probably would do living in Selma. Now, one last thing I want to say. The city of Grants Pass wants to put this on the ballot. It doesn't abide by things that are on the ballot. Measure 91, the marijuana initiative, they don't abide by what state law says. In fact, if the city allowed for dispensaries in this town, they would get 20% tax from that alone. They don't want to do that, and that's the #1 industry. So lastly, I want everybody in this room, when the vote comes up for this, which is a foregone conclusion, it's going to be on the ballot, show them that you don't want any more taxes. You don't want to marginalize the people in this town even further. Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree.
I'd like to try and keep the applause down.
Yeah, don't do that.
Unruly or start that case. So I appreciate it if you keep that applause down. Thank you.
Can we boo?
Yeah, that's
Rika
right.
Brown, resident of
Oh,
Grants
Rika,
Pass,
hey, what do you get to say, Rika?
and I'm a natural gardener. I guess I will
She's a
be one of the
natural gardener.
services that will be charging sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to point out that renters pay for property tax in their rent, and we can at least hope that landlords will drop the rent a little bit.
Yeah.
But I have customers inside the city, outside the city, and one that's over in Lincoln City. Do they all pay sales tax on my services?
Jay, you want to try and answer that one?
Thanks, Rika. Great question. That's probably a common question that's out there. For service providers such as your business, any services that are provided outside the city of Grants Pass, there's no tax associated with that. Just the services that are provided inside the city. And so same thing with a manufacturing type company. If you're shipping your goods outside the city, there's no tax associated with that. So great question.
All right,
Well,
let's see.
redefine all
Let's see.
goods
You
as
need to
services, and you're
windshield
set.
wiper, and right here.
Yeah, my name's Bob Drake. I own Bob Drake Reproductions. I've been here about 36 years in Grants Pass. I moved out of L.A. because they taxed me to death. Came to Grants Pass. Love it. I'm pro Southern Oregon. Nobody likes taxes. City of Grants Pass, when I first built my building up on Washington, the north end, they fought me. Now they want me. They want my tax, I pay 8,000, 6,000, 8,000 hours per building. I own 3 buildings and a lot I don't know what I pay for. My property's broken into 3 times already. Made a mess of everything. I'm against sales tax because the burden's on me to, get the money from people that buy across the counter. I propose if the jail wants, do what the Army does, they call it hot cots, 8 on, 8 off, 24 hours on the clock.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can play more of that. I think that went by pretty quickly, Mike.
Yeah, it sure did.
Yeah. So
I'm hungry for more.
Cocoa Puffs. I have no problem, if you don't, with playing more of that tomorrow night so that people can see what some of the arguments were, pro and con. Now, interesting to me, even the Courier, and that they kind of taint their stories, even they're saying, well, it really doesn't look like it's going to happen. And this, once again, not in an editorial, in an article written by Jim Moore as part of the news. Why, this is a non-starter kind of thing. How they do with every kind of news story. It's not really news, it's editorial story. Okay, that's what we do, but we admit that that's what we're doing. Okay, they put it on the front page. So even they're saying, no, I don't think so. You know why? Scott Draper? No. Other people have been pushing for a levy. No. And the Courier? It's not a levy. It's a sales tax, and it would affect business owners directly. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to spread the pain out to everybody and their brother by forcing you to do a levy. I think that this is not going to happen because people are going to look at it and go, well, this affects me personally. Mike?
Yeah, I agree. You know what? I think they're trying to replace. Is that what they're really trying to do? They say they're trying to replace the current tax levy. I don't know about that. And then here's this other guy saying, well, why don't you just keep the levy and then add a 1% sales tax on top of that? Okay. I don't think that's going to be real popular either. Yeah, you know what? Listen, as this guy, he's the J. Austin Fine Jewelers guy. He was on KMED here the other day. I talked about him last night too. He said, the downtown is starting to regenerate. It's he said much more vibrant than Medford. That kind of surprised me a little bit. I thought, well, gee whiz, man, maybe they're really dropping the ball over there in Medford. But anyway, why would you want to then place a burden upon it right when recovery is beginning? Why would you want to then place an additional burden on it? I just don't see that as being good. I don't think that commercial landlords are going to start charging less rent because their property taxes go down.
Oh, that's stupid.
You know, I just don't think that's going to happen.
No way.
So
you know, who would think of such a thing? Really? That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I really don't think it would because, you know, I mean, they're expecting, well, you know, now the burden changes from property owners to business owners, which in many cases are the same thing. But you know, listen, people who haven't had to collect sales taxes before as a business, they're going, oh, yeah, that sounds like no big deal. Yeah, that's because you're not doing it right now. You know, you're going to be an unpaid tax collector for the city of Grants Pass. Is what you're going to be.
It's going to, and as you mentioned, it's going to cost them extra. They're going to have to pay extra bookkeeping fees. They're going to have to keep track of a lot of stuff they never did before. I mean, just in a small thing,
and
they're going
to have to file returns, and they're going to audit you.
And there's all kinds of little change things you're going to need more pennies. Oh man! And the other, you had mentioned, you know, well, why would they do this? Why would they strangle this new thing that's happening? Suddenly the image that I got is, here's all these people in a pit, right? And so you're lowering ladders down to them so they can get out of the pit. Now you've got like 100 ladders. But as soon as you put one down there, everybody in the pit runs toward the one ladder. They're killing each other to get on the one rather than waiting for the other ladders. And they're climbing up and they're tearing up the ladder. They can't wait. As soon as they see a little bit of movement, like, oh, things are just starting to happen. Let's go tax that. Let's go grab that. Let's go stop that.
So they pull the ladder out of the pit and they saw it down and make it really narrow. And then send it back down.
No, what they do is they pull the ladder out of the pit, and all those government people that are down there, they start filling in the pit. Filling in the pit.
Right, yes. Wow. You know, I really don't like what you're suggesting. That combined with that fist pointing at me has me thinking that you have radical right-wing views.
Yeah, radical right-wing. Well, you know what they say about lawyers.
Lock you up, buddy.
What do you call... What do you call 10,000 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean?
A good start.
Yes, sir. So it's the same general rule. Okay, so can they get blood out of a stone just by threatening to punch you with it?
Is that what it is? You have blood on there too. Wow.
You can't have any kinds of skin, but you can have lots of violence. That's perfectly okay.
You can have violence.
Yes, violence is okay. Right.
I thought we couldn't have violence because...
Did we get a phone call from Vivian objecting to violence? No. She's not going to object to violence. And look
the show's not over yet here.
Yeah, you can see all this skin here, too. Do you see any of the fingers covered up? Ah, they're all naked fingers. So, yeah. Yes. Such are the stories in the naked city. Well, I don't know. Have you seen the rest of this video, Dale? Can you tell if there's any fireworks that are coming up, or is it just more point counterpoint here? It's from what I understand. I have not seen the rest of it, but what I understand from our eyewitness who was there, that was actually texting us during this. Most of the people standing up were speaking out against it. Now, most of the people speaking out against it does not mean that the city council is not going to put it on the ballot. Of course it's going to go on the ballot. Yeah. Because when they go to one of their clubs, I won't mention the name of it, but its initials are Rotary Club. When they go to that kind of thing, why, you're the heroes, hey, you're going to, let's do, well, maybe some of them are not doing that because they own businesses. Now, wait a minute, I don't like this. They're going to do this because they're interested in your money. They want your money, and they need your money, and they're going to have your money. Whether they've already decided, they already did this, they put it on your water bill. Your water bill has something on there because of the jail. Now, if you can figure that out, you let us know.
Well, I can figure it out. They were able to do it unilaterally, and they went ahead and did it. I get it. I totally get it. And listen, on a side note, there was a couple of people there that moved up here from California. One of them didn't like the tax, and the other one did like the tax. I say we start checking these people at the border. You know,
we need immigration laws.
That's
immigration
right. Yes,
laws.
we do. Listen, hey, that's a hip thing right now. I'm going to build a wall, and I'm going to make the Californians pay for it.
Don't let them vote or drive, which is the same thing now, because as soon as you get your driver's license, you're automatically registered as a voter.
Now we're cooking.
Right.
Now we're cooking.
And don't let them go to college either. No, wait a minute. Don't let them go free to college. Well, they can go to college, but they have to go rogue. That'll stop them, because they're going to feel uncomfortable, like that guy, like, ugh.
Yes.
I tell you, we're responsible for a new trend. I'd like to say it's not wearing underwear, but I doubt very much that that's really the trend. Mm-hmm. It's watching this show, like you are doing, watching this show. Aren't you proud of yourself? Cheryl Walker hates you for watching this show. She warned you, do not watch this show. This will be a tragedy if you watch this.
Yeah, you are part of the tragedy. You and tragedy.
All of you, all 24 of you. You're part of a tragedy. Yes, that's right. So shall we continue this tragedy tomorrow night, Mike? What do you think?
Yes, I think so. I'm very interested to see more of this. This is going to be the topic du jour here for the next few days. There is a bit of ruckus in social media concerning this right now. People are batting it around, and you know.
Now, the other thing that we're going to bring you, because I had asked for two things. Thank you again, Donna. I asked for two things from the city. The other one was, you may recall last Wednesday, this isn't going to go away. There were two big battles that happened in the same city council meeting. And one of them was about marijuana and growing inside the city. And you may know, you should go see this video that we have where we were talking with the sheriff, and he was, not with the sheriff, with the police chief, and he was saying, yes, even if you have a greenhouse. Now, wait a minute. Let's think about this for a second. This is, you can't let anything that's a legal agricultural crop grow where you can see it. Okay, or this is very weird. You can have a greenhouse. This is a preview for, just calm down. This is a preview for a future show. So one of them is, we're talking with him and he says, okay, so you got a greenhouse, right? And it's got, a heavy duty roof. Okay. It's got maybe thick walls made out of thick glass. Okay. It's got a door that's it's padlocked, double padlocked and barred, and it's
you're filtering the air coming in and out of this thing.
But it's now considered to be, according to the Grants Pass City Council, all of those things, no matter what it is that you're growing in there, is now considered to be outdoors. Outdoors. Why is it considered to be outdoors? You have to, I don't want any of it, okay? I don't want any marijuana. I don't want it. I don't want anything going down these beautiful pink little lungs of mine, okay? Well, she had some too, but that's another story. And so the problem with that is you cannot grow that where anyone can see it. What? Where they can't see it? Now, we're not talking about smells like a gas station or the guys I passed by the Ann Basker today that were putting out mulch and stuff. Boy, is that smelly. Not talking about smells. You can't look at it, because you know what happens if you turn back and you look at Sodom and Gomorrah? You turn into a pillar of salt.
That's right.
It is, green is the new black. Okay? You couldn't be seen, before I was born, holding the hands of a black girl, and now you can't be seen growing something that looks like a tomato plant or a bamboo plant. No, that's how it can't be seen. It's illegal.
Well, I'm going to be in trouble because I grow lots of tomatoes.
You're in trouble. But see, everything.
But I live in the county, so
everything that you're growing inside the city, inside a greenhouse, is now considered to be outdoors. This is how far it has to go to try to stop people. Well, we don't want anyone seeing that. You don't want them seeing it, really. Seeing it as a problem. Well, that's going to drive people crazy. It's like women in burqas, so women in the beekeeper suits. Why, if men were to see their face, it would drive them crazy. The same with marijuana. Why, even though you don't want any, Dale Matthews, if you see it, you're going to go crazy from seeing it. Really? So we're going to put that stuff up for you to see. That'll be fun. And there was another one. What was that other one, Mike? There were two really contentious issues. Was it more about the sales tax? There was something else that was really contentious that night. I think that anyway. We're going to have more footage from you. They've opened the door. We now can show stuff to you. We still can't hear what they're saying in the little back room on Thursdays. Everybody else can put a microphone on that desk, but not us. Because we're the only ones that's actually bringing you the audio. Nobody else is doing it, even though they put a microphone. Don't get me started. Okay. So be sure to tune in tomorrow night. Aren't you pleased that you turned in tonight and you saw stuff that you probably couldn't have seen anywhere else?
Or you saw already because you were there at the city council chambers.
Instead of watching this show?
Yes, of course.
Oh, man, that's a mistake. It's a tragedy when you think about it.